Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. I am not in the regular place, but I'm in Pittsburgh. With who? My mom! I'm honoring mothers this month, and I thought I couldn't honor anybody coming into Pittsburgh and honoring my mother. She's the reason I'm here. So we're going to talk with Donna McDonald today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm excited, Mom. It's good to be in Pittsburgh. It's good to be home. And it's good to be with you and Papa Ricky.
Yes.
And, we're having a good time here in Pittsburgh. It's the month of May, and we're honoring mothers this month. So we're going to talk just very briefly and just about some basics that my mother instilled in me. In honoring her this month, I just want her to talk about me. And because I am a part of two worlds, and this is one part of my world, which I'm the only child. So it was just me and my mom hanging out for years and years and years, just us together. So we're just going to talk just a little bit about our relationship, mother and daughter relationship, and just some of the things that you wanted for me, just a little bit of the single parenting, and which is a big deal. Maybe we'll start there,
Okay.
describing just a little bit of how that went for us.
Oh, it went well for us.
Yes.
First of all, it was a blessing raising a baby girl and watching her crawl around, then learning how to stand up and then run and eventually just fly and soar. As I've watched her go through all these stages. Yes.
Wow.
Single parent, it was a blessing. It was really a blessing. I was able to support her very well. I had a very good paying job,
Yes.
and we lived life very good. I mean, on Sundays we ate on china and silverware.
Absolutely.
Yes. On paydays we went out to dinner, and I taught her to observe the people around her.
Yes.
Who was using their napkin?
Come on.
And things like that.
Yes.
So we were truly blessed. Our home was blessed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Growing up.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. I think we did a little of everything.
Yes.
Maybe you could talk just a little bit about education. That's like at the top of our
That
list, always.
That was always at the top of the list. In fact, I sold my car and put her in private school in a Catholic St. Peter's.
Yes.
That was close by, and I thought that was more beneficial.
Absolutely.
To put her ahead of the game.
Yes.
That was in 5th grade, and she wound up being the youngest 5th grader and the top of her class. I remember that distinctly. Yes.
I remember that. I was scared straight. But my mother always emphasized school first.
Yes.
School first, turn the TV off. Let's get down into it. Let's get into this lesson. You know, I wasn't sent to the desk or sent to the table to do my work. She would help me. She would read with me. She called it get my lesson. Let's get this lesson together.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I remember you quizzing me on spelling words and making sure that I knew what was going on in school. Very active in my education, and it went a long way. It went a long way. So we just thank God for that. I just give a shout out to all single parents. You know, it's a challenge, right? But it's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Not impossible at all.
Because I think the parents are really the true professionals
Yes.
when it comes to education for your children.
Yes.
You know, and know that. You are the professional.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because
Yes.
the parent knows what they want or
Exactly.
should know what they want for their child.
I always knew what I wanted for you.
Mhm.
Always.
I even remember, it's interesting because I wanted to be in education, but my mother wanted more for me. Remember that? It's like, I want you to be a, more of a professional, something different than education. And that was a wonderful push. I spent 10 years in engineering because of my mother. My mother's job, we could talk a little bit about your non traditional job, and I think I took after that part of your experience.
Mhm.
And part of that was why I went into engineering. Like, hey, if my mother can have a non traditional job, certainly I can go into a male dominated field. So that really encouraged me to do engineering. No regrets on engineering at all. I did end up going back into education as I wanted to do in my earlier um, in elementary school. I always wanted to be a teacher. I guess everybody wants to be a teacher in that span of time. You notice your teachers, you spend a lot of time with your teachers, and you kind of play school sometimes. And that was my take on my career. But I'm so glad I had an opportunity to expand myself, and that was because of my mother pushing me to do something different. And I'm the better for it today. I'm the better for it. So we thank
I'm
God
so glad.
for mothers, the professionals. You know, parents are the professionals. I like how you said that. Parents know what they want for their children, and when you know that, I think the children can absorb it a little more and just go forward and,
You
like you
can
say,
guide them.
soar.
You can guide them
Yes.
through the process.
Hmm.
Yes.
Soar and fly. Soar and fly. So let's talk just a little bit about, of course, it was me and you, we thrived, but we had a lot of family support.
Our
Lots of
family
support.
was in one community.
Hmm.
There was an aunt and uncle up the street, two sets of grandparents,
Yes.
and
Really, dad and his that
yes,
side of the
and
family wasn't far.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Everybody was in one community.
Hmm.
So I did have a village.
Yes,
And it does take a village. Yes.
absolutely.
It takes a village to raise a child.
Hmm.
And I had a wonderful village.
Yes, we had a lot of family around, so much family. So, I was able to glean from two grandmothers in the community,
Mhm.
you know, aunt and uncle up the street. My dad was nearby, and we just talked about that process that we went through and being able to bond with my dad
Yes.
and my other sisters and brother. So it was an amazing opportunity. The community. I wasn't far from them, so it made it kind of easy for us to get along and
Yeah.
for me to understand and know who my family was and be close to them and glean from them.
And your aunt and uncle were good educators.
Yes,
They were both educators.
absolutely.
It was a big help.
Hmm.
Yes.
Huge help.
Yeah.
So
To have their input.
yes. So besides education and family support, how do we have fun? We had a lot of fun too.
Oh, we did. Ana was always in an adult environment.
Mhm.
Can I talk about Amway?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
That's
Well,
perfect.
I got introduced into the Amway
Community.
community,
Yeah. Those are good
and
times.
they had the best book list you could ever
Absolutely.
uh, ask for.
Hmm.
I remember reading the first thing was um, The Magic of Thinking Big, which was an eye opener for me, and I was able to incorporate that into all aspects of my life.
Hmm.
You know, I
Mm.
especially at work. I worked in the billing office at my company, And then we discovered how much more money you can make in the plant working, and that there was 10 of us. This is where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go where the money is. And that
The
was
females, right?
the females.
Yes.
There was 10 of us that went
Wow.
out. And we got that first paycheck. We can do this for 2 more weeks. And ended up staying out in the plant for 22 years.
Yes.
Yes. And that made a way for me to send Ina
So
to
much.
Pitt.
Yes.
To Pitt.
To do so much.
Yeah. To buy a
Relocated.
car.
Yep.
We, got this house and car. We both got braces.
We sure did.
Both got braces on these teeth.
Yes.
It was just worth it.
Yeah. It was well worth it.
It was well worth the sacrifice. Working 3 shifts.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when the boss would come around and say, I could tell in her eyes that there was overtime, before she can get it out of her mouth. Yes. I had a yes.
When they asked you about overtime?
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it made a lot of things possible. My mother having a non-traditional job.
Yes.
Working out in the water sewage treatment plant.
Yes.
As an operator.
Yes.
So I am very proud of what she did and what she was able to accomplish by herself. So it was a good life, great life. We had a lot of fun. You start out by talking about Amway, which was great training for me. Selling product,
yes,
thinking beyond, like the magic of thinking big that allowed you to think beyond the desk job.
Yes.
Just allowed you to think
and then
broader.
Reading The Friendship Factor, which helped me get along with the non-traditional, working with all males, and versus working in the office with females.
Yeah,
which could be a little challenging also. Yes.
Yeah.
Be very challenging. But everything works out.
It does. It works out. So in terms of having fun and doing something different, we took in lots of concerts.
Lots of concerts.
Music was really something
we went to see Earth, Wind and Fire and Michael Jackson, George Benson. We went to see Prince.
You wouldn't let me go.
You
went to see him.
That's right. That was my sister.
Yes.
Yeah, we couldn't take her. No.
Yeah.
And Smokey Bill Robinson, I do remember.
Peabo Bryson.
Yes. And above all, Phyllis Hyman.
Ooh.
Phyllis Hyman.
Such a treat.
Yes.
Such a treat.
Yes.
Phyllis Hyman, I loved her, just because of her artistic ability. But one secret that many may not know is she grew up with my mom.
Yes.
They grew up together. So when she would come in town, we would be able to go backstage and actually see her and talk with her. And the families were so close.
Yes.
So my grandfather, he was a driver. So he would sometimes drive her around the city to wherever she wanted to go. And we were included in some parts of her schedule. I remember one year we went to the hospital to see her father, and we had some family time together just to share. So that's just just a little bit of how we had some fun and a cultural experience of going to museums and the planetarium, just different family trips that were good, cooking together, and all of those things that make our life full and complete.
Right.
Setting the table, all of those things. My mother taught me how to do everything from A to Z, cook, clean. I can sew, everything. My mother taught me how to do everything that I needed to have a family of 4. I knew how to do everything.
What about Meatless Mondays?
Meatless Mondays, yeah. You don't have to have meat all the time.
Not all
We
the
have
time.
meatless Mondays, just vegetables on your plate and maybe a starch, you know. So we had that type of thing going on. Big pot meals, one pot meals, you know. We were cutting corners with financing, but you know, as you can see, we're pretty thick girls, so we
Girls.
didn't we didn't miss out on nutrition
No.
at all. So that was I had a good life growing up. I really did. I was able to be in different programs related to the field that I was studying in. Lots of
Right.
engineering programs.
Right.
Tell them about the math contest.
It was my birthday, March 22nd, and Ina was going to take this exam.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was
Math
downtown
contest,
or
yes.
something. And she came back home. She said, "Mom, I don't think I did that well. I think I really blew it on this one."
Mhm.
Well, it came out that whoever took the test in the nation,
Mhm.
she came out number one, earned $500 or won $500
Uh-huh.
and a plaque that you
You
still have it today.
somewhere.
Woman-
Somewhere today.
Yes. Future businesswoman of
I think it was
something.
Benjamin Banneker
Oh, the
Award,
Benjamin
mathematics.
Yes. Mhm.
So it's just a result of her encouraging me not just to do well in school and make the grade, but go beyond
Go beyond.
and you know, be
What
a
about
part
the
of
summer
different things.
programs? You went to CMU
Yes, Carnegie Mellon
for a summer.
University. It was an engineering related program that I was involved in. Inroads, you know, Inroads was a big deal, teaching me how to conduct myself in corporate America. So I got an internship off of that when I was in college. So that was an excellent opportunity. And then more on the social side, Capels.
The
Remember the Capels?
I do. I do. I remember Mabel McCaskill
Yes.
approaching me, because because you were in the gifted program
Mhm.
at Brashear High School, and they were seeking out the scholarly
Yeah. From the
young
church.
ladies
Yeah.
from the church.
Hmm. This was a junior sorority called the Capels National Organization,
And it
and
was
it's just good training.
from the Deltas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was really good training. So these are just some of the extracurriculars that my mother encouraged me to be in. Just keeping me busy, keeping me out of
Yes.
trouble, keeping me on the straight and narrow.
Yes.
So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So many opportunities, so many things that I can remember. We spent a lot of time in the library. I'm
Yes.
sorry, education was key. It was very much promoted in my house. Spent a lot of time at the library and even used the library some days for a babysitter. Meet me
Yes.
at the library. Go
After I
get
get
that
off
book.
the bus,
By
yeah.
the time you get your book out and start reading and, leaf through some of the things that you want to do in the library, I'll be right there. I didn't even realize what she was doing, using the library as a babysitter. Probably can't do that these days, it's so much different, but that's some of the things that, some of the creative ways that in single parenting you gotta have to do
yeah.
that type of thing,
Yes.
to make it happen. Talk about what you. Let's talk about the other side of the fence. In single parenting, how do you co-parent with? How did you co-parent with my dad?
Well,
I thought it was very unique in how you
after
didn't
we
mind.
ironed out our
Yeah.
differences and put her first,
Mhm.
it didn't matter what day or what time he would come to visit or to pick her up and take her with him.
Mhm.
It was always a trust that I had with him,
Right.
and it was I didn't set any boundaries,
Mhm.
Come whenever you can, come whenever you want, after work, before work,
Anytime.
just spend time with her and her sisters and a brother.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So
It
that
was so important.
that's key, because if you didn't support that, I would have never had the opportunity to
Right.
share in the others, my other side. You know, I was one of four on that side. On this side, I'm the only child, but I'm one of four on the other side. So if you didn't support that, I would never have had that opportunity. And I mentioned that because some people don't have an agreement in that area. So I'm just glad and thankful that my parents had an agreement. Even though they weren't together, they had an agreement in terms of how they would parent me together, absolutely together. Let's talk just a little bit about my place in society and how you found that important to
Well,
show me and talk to me about that.
You always must know your place, period, in the family, and I think in sharing the family, how do you call it, the blended family?
Yes.
You knew your place there.
Yeah.
You were the second oldest.
Right.
And at home, you were the daughter. I was the mother, even though when you got a little older, you know, there was a little friction,
Yeah.
and you, no, I'm sorry, I'm the mother.
That's
and
right.
this is how it's gonna be, you know, not a punishment, but this you don't talk back
Hello.
to, you know,
Yes.
because if you talk back to Grandma Eloise, you might get, you know, a dirty rag in your mouth. You might get a back, you know,
Pick yourself up off the floor.
You might just have a bad experience with Grandma Eloise.
That's right. Know your place in the
Know
family.
your place, your family, and then you'll know your place in society.
Perfect.
Yes.
And that's why I think I'm very big on boundaries.
Yes.
I think I get that from you. Very
Okay.
big on boundaries. Yeah. Set boundaries for relationships.
Oh,
you know.
yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's very important. My mother did not have a bunch of traffic. We never had a bunch of traffic coming
No.
through our house.
No.
When
We
we
didn't
had
have that,
guests,
that coffee, come over for coffee.
Yeah.
I didn't have time for that. No.
so
Your godmother lived out of town. So, you know, and my best friends, they had their own families and they also worked, you know, and so there wasn't a lot of time for
socializing like that.
socializing in that respect.
And
Right.
then when we did have company, you know, my friends weren't allowed all around the house. You know, they just weren't allowed all around. You could sit here, or you know, we would go in and watch TV or something like that. But I didn't. You know, they weren't allowed to go to my refrigerator. They weren't allowed to, you know, do a lot of things. My mother had things in place where, you know, nobody was really had free course in my house at all. So that's why when I married into a big family, my husband is so open and so free. I think that's where we had a lot of conflict, because I was so, you know, on the straight and narrow, and no, this is for that, and this is for this, and this is for that. And I think that has its worth. But then I had to let up a little bit, because, you know, when you are in a relationship with someone that's very different, you know, you gotta kind of gotta make some compromises.
And then
But I
times
think-
times change. You know, society is much more. I don't want to say loose.
Free.
It's
Liberal.
It's liberal. Very liberal.
Very liberal. Yeah. So
And you have to change with the times. But when you have everything in place, when you know your place, that plays a big part of your not stepping out of boundaries.
yeah,
when you know
when
your
you know your
place.
place, that's very important. To know your place, know who you
Yes.
are, understand
Always.
who you are. And talking about understanding who you are, my introduction into I'm not going to say church, but my introduction to Jesus Christ was my mother. She's the one that introduced me to Jesus Christ. So along with the reading and along with the quiet times together. She always put a bug in my ear. We would read the Bible sometimes together, along with some other types of literature, but she made sure that I knew who Jesus Christ was. She made sure that I had time in church. She made sure that I had time to develop my spiritual walk with God. And I must attribute all that I am in the area of how I function in my church and all that I am spiritually. I have to attribute that to my mother because she introduced me to Jesus Christ. She really did. I
Amen.
remember saying the sinner's prayer. You know, at 12, I asked Mom, I want to be saved. We got down on our knees, and not a minister, not that something's wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that. Not a minister, not the pastor. My mother prayed the sinner's prayer with me. So I just thank God for the foundation. Our home was very well rounded, and I think we did all right. I think we did all right. I do want to talk about one thing. As you talked about you watching me crawl and then walk and then run and then fly, I was thinking about my decision to go to Connecticut and how I almost missed it. But I remember asking my mother, I was like, oh my God, they really want me to come to Connecticut for this job. What do you think? And I didn't think she was going to. I thought she was going to say something like, oh, I don't know. In time, I don't know if you're ready, but in time, I thought she was going to say something like that, which I wanted her to say that because I didn't want to leave. I didn't feel like it was time for me to leave. But you remember what you said?
I do remember. I remember you standing in the doorway and you had your back to me. And you said, well, Mom, what do you think about me going to accepting this job at Pepperidge Farm? And I said to you, well, I think it's time for the little birdie to fly. You remember that?
I remember.
I remember. Yeah, you remember. It's time for the little, I could not be selfish and hold you back. You know, it's a big, beautiful world.
Wow.
You know, and as a result of you going to Connecticut, Sister Moles was there to catch my little birdie.
Wow.
And marry her son. And I thank God every day that I made that decision.
Yes.
Because you never know how God's going to bless you.
Right.
You never
That's
know.
beautifully put, Mom. I can't top that. I can't top that. That is vision, it's direction,
Yes.
it's guidance, it's giving yourself, it's, you didn't sacrifice anything. You gave it all. You know, even when it was time for me to leave, you didn't withhold that from me. You let me know it's time to go. Bye-bye. It's time to go. So I thank God for the vision. And even we didn't realize it, but my mother used to always talk to me about finishing school. And finishing school was where?
New England.
In New England.
In
So,
New England, yes.
It just happened that an opportunity came my way for me to go to New England, because she had always put that bug in my ear. I want you to marry well, and if you're going to marry well, I need you to be prepared. So some kind of way we're gonna get you to this finishing school in the New England area. But lo and behold, I believe Lady Moles was the finishing school.
I was just getting ready to say.
I just believe that God knows what you wanted for me.
Yes.
And He provided a way for me to learn all of the things that I needed to learn
to be first
in order to be a first lady, to be married to be married to Kenneth Moles Jr., to raise these children, and to do everything that I need to do for such a time as this and beyond. Because I know that this is not the end, that there's more.
Yes.
There's more in me to produce. And so I was just well prepared. So I honor you today. And I honor you today for all that you've exposed me to. I'm here today. I'm here where I am.
This is a mother's job.
Donna
It's a mother's
McDonald.
joke. Donna with one N.
To Madonna with one in. Thank you, Mom. Mwah.
You're so welcome.
Love is patient. Mothers out there, keep on plugging, keep on working.
Yes.
Keep on praying for the vision for each of your children, because at the end of the road, you could say like my mother, your job is done. In this area, your job is done. And thank God, in my case, a lot of bumps in the road. We didn't talk about all the bumps,
No.
but there was a lot of bumps in the road, but I was able to hurdle over each bump in the road, hurdle over each problem and situation, because I had a great foundation. And I thank God for my mom in this month of May, Mother's Day. Be sure to reach out to your mothers and mother figures
Yes.
and let them know that you appreciate what they did for you, and appreciate them in your life. Even those that have gone on, take a minute. Take a minute and take a moment just to thank God for having a mother or a mother figure in your life, a grandmother, an auntie, whoever was in your life to push you. So love is patient. Love is patient. Take some time out and be patient with yourself, and love on your mothers this month. All right, until next time, remember, love is patient.